Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. This is the full review on the FX King 600 FAC air rifle. Now this is the Green Mountain version of the GRS laminate stock. You can also have it in brown or the grey and black Nordic Wolf. Totally up to you, whichever you want. But of course the big issue with these GRS stocks is the fact you've got fully adjustable length of pull on the back end here, and you've also got about 22mm of adjustable cheek piece height. This is a very right-handed stock, but it's highly sculpted here to give you a vertical inlaid pistol grip for absolutely excellent ergonomics to make sure you can set up your alignment on this scope and on this rifle for perfect precision shooting. Now the rifle has got a 30 MOA scope rail built onto it, so you've got great long range potential as well as all the usual FX tuning features. Now this King, a bit like the Dynamic and the Pantera, uses the over barrel plenum system for greater consistency shot to shot. This has got 156cc air capacity over the top, and as well as giving you that, it also significantly stiffens the barrel in my opinion, which is a huge factor in why this gun is more accurate and more consistent. The liner in it is the Superior STX, and it's designed specifically for heavy pellets and slugs, and I actually got the full use of this rifle with pellets from 18.13 grains all the way up to 28 grain slugs, so I can testify to the capability of the gun with the heavy pellets and the heavy slugs, because quite frankly at high power it wasn't that great with the lighter pellets. And when I say lighter pellets, 18.13 grain JSB pellets aren't that light. They are a go-to for many of my FAC rifles up to about 30 foot-pounds, but they didn't run so well on this, but the heavy ones did. We'll talk more about that in a moment. As you've seen in the rest of the video, you can unscrew the barrel cap here and add a sound moderator, which has a significant effect on sound volume. I've used the audio meter on that so you can see some of the decibel figures generated. You've got the wicker gauges on the side, same as the Pantera and the Dynamic, which gives you a little bit more visibility from a shooting position. And of course the two gauges are, you've got the overall fill pressure and the regulator pressure. Filling the rifle is a Foster adapter on the base, clips on, fill it up to 250 bar, and it's a 480cc carbon fibre air bottle. As you can see, I'm using a clamp so I can fit a bipod underneath the air bottle, but that still leaves the barrel and plenum fully floating, so you've no problems with accuracy and consistency depending on how you manoeuvre and load this rifle. There's Picatinny on the left side and the right side to add illuminators and things like that if you're using it for night vision, and as mentioned, the rail on top gives you simple Picatinny mounting. There's an AMP regulator inside. This is the Mark II version, and you've got the macro and micro adjuster. There are 23 overall power settings available here. You can dial the power all the way from 1 up to 23, and they've got strong detent so you can return to previously used ones exactly without losing 0. Only adjust this when the rifle isn't cocked. Using the 25.39 grain JSB Exact Jumbo Monster Diablo pellets, On power setting number 1, I was getting 17 foot-pounds. On power setting 13, approximately halfway, that was about 38 foot-pounds, and all the way up at power level 23 is running just over 50 foot-pounds. But with the heaviest Zan slugs at 28 grains, I did get over 52 foot-pounds. FX do give you the full statistics for this gun on their website, and I will add a link for that, but do bear in mind the exact power figures and shot capacity will vary slightly on atmospheric conditions and the tune you're using. In .22 caliber, the magazine holds 18 pellets or slugs up to 13mm long. It is a slightly deeper new design, common to both the Dynamic and the Pantera. I tended to find that if I refilled the main bottle to 250 bar after 3 magazines, which is 54 shots, I was well within the actual range in which I was going to get the most precision and consistency from the air regulators. It's side lever cocking, forward we go here, and this is a safe dry fire. The trigger is 2-stage and it breaks at 300 grams, which is 11 ounces. It does allow you to do some seriously good precision shooting with it. Just to show you the magazine loading procedure, you unlatch the cap, that comes off, wind this round, place your first pellet in, then just fill up the rest and you're ready to go. It goes into gun, and it will of course hold the bolt open on the last round. The King is available with 500 or 600mm barrels, and this is a 600mm one you see here. FX themselves don't actually quote a specification for maximum power in the 177, but in the 2.2 it's rated up to 82 foot-pounds using a 34 grain pellet at 1040 feet per second. The 2.5 is rated up to 91 pounds with a 43.5 grain slug at 970 feet per second. The 30 cal is rated up to 130 foot-pounds with a 64 grain slug at 1020 feet per second. Lastly, the 35 caliber is rated up to 173 foot-pounds with a 93 grain slug running at 915 feet per second. But these figures are maximums, and it will depend exactly on your location. The dials and adjusters have got plenty of grip on them, so it's easy to use in bare fingers or with gloves on. The question is this a hunting rifle or is this a more target and precision rifle? Well, I did do a little bit of squirrel shooting with it, and I also did some target shooting with it, and I did the target shooting out to about 85 meters on the maximum. Well, it is quite a big chunk. It's 3.6 kilograms in weight with no accessories on it, and it's 1075mm long. It does depend a little bit on which length of pull you select. Length of pull goes from 13 3/8 up to 15 inches, which is 346 to 380mm. It is available in 177, 22, 25, 30 and 35 caliber, and of course depending on which caliber you go for, that will affect the number of shots you get from it and also the maximum power you can get. FX do give a shot count of over 120 shots per fill from that, but I do find that does vary quite a lot depending on your exact climatic conditions and of course the pressure gauge which you've actually got in your fill up air tank and how accurately that actually relates to what's on the rifle. The instruction book does cover details about trigger adjustment. I think the extra size magazine allowing up to a 30mm projectile does prevent any friction occurring between the projectile and either of the surfaces between it, so magazine feeding is improved and is totally reliable. I haven't had a single misfeed in probably 500 shots with this rifle. The other thing I really like about the new King is the plenum system. As much as I can show you some amazing statistics from long shot strings with extremely low spreads of 2 to 3 feet per second, the biggest factor I think it contributes is the fact that the barrel within is stiffer and the liner itself is stiffer. So the gun will handle a few more knocks and bumps without any kind of problems losing zero. It's not as easy to change barrels on this one because the plenum system is of course a sealed component back here. If I take the front end off, I can actually show you what's underneath it and some of the reasons why it's more complicated to adjust the within liner. Because you've got pressure restraining systems and you've got a lot more O-rings and stabilisers here, and this barrel appears to be far thicker and stiffer. The overall diameter of the plenum is 34mm. And that contributes a massive amount to the gun's capability on target and beefs it up for those handling errors. When rifles do get bumped, they do get knocked, and you've only got to tap the barrel like this and you can feel there's less movement, less flexibility, and that of course translates to greater consistency long term. So would I go hunting with it? Well, I would under certain circumstances. I think it's more suited to sedentary hunting or fixed position hunting when you want absolute precision and dialing capability to make sure you can get hits over longer distances from a fixed location, because the gun doesn't have any slings or anything to carry it with, but you have got the bag rider on the back, you've got the butt hook here, so if you're in a prone position or in a seated position with maybe a tripod underneath it clamped on the forend, you've got a really good capability to take some long shots on vermin, rabbits, maybe even some hares. Now, I have used it with a bottle clamp for a bipod. There isn't a Picatinny rail or an Arca rail or a huge amount of space to clamp a set of tripod sticks underneath it, but it will fit and it will go in them if you're just a little bit cautious with positioning. And of course, because the barrel is totally unaffected by the actual clamping force, that means that when it's in the tripod sticks, it's totally stable. I did a bit of multi-position shooting with it, but predominantly I did shoot it from the bipod. The interesting point is, I think if I was to choose a projectile for precision shooting, I'd go with the 25.5 grain Zan slug. I think for pellet lovers, the 25.39 grain JSB Exact Jumbo Monster is ideal, and I love the way it shoots from the superior STX heavy liner that this rifle's got sitting on board. The gun certainly grips and positions well in your shoulder on the limb saver recoil pad, so you can get a stable position resting on elbows, sitting and kneeling. And of course the gauges on the side are always visible, so you're totally aware of what your regulator pressures are and how much air you've got left in your bottle. The side lever cocking is very smooth. It toggles in position and stays locked against the gun. Flick it away with your finger and you can cock it backwards and forwards easily. You can, if you needed to, decock the rifle rather than dry firing it. But of course, don't make any adjustments to the macro or micro adjusters when it is cocked. There's a 2-position safety catch on the side, fire and safe. It's easily accessible with the tip of your finger. The Green Mountain stock is a delight to hold. You get great positioning on it, but of course it isn't any use for left-hand shooters. I did take a few shots with it left-handed and it's possible, but it's not massively comfortable. It looks awesome, and being a laminate, you don't get any noise reverberation or vibration travelling through the stock like you can with some polymer stocks or chassis systems. FX rate shot capacity of this King 600 at 128 shots with a 22 grain hybrid slug at 900 feet per second. In 25 caliber that would be 96 shots with a 26 grain hybrid slug at 900 feet per second, and in 30 caliber 56 shots with a 44.5 grain hybrid at 900 feet per second as well. Lastly, in 35 caliber the rifle is rated for 26 shots using a 68 grain hybrid slug, also at 900 feet per second. Well, I hope you enjoyed that review of the FX King. Please like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell to keep track of my regular uploads, and please go through to the end of the video and click on the link for the British Shooting Show 2024 tickets between the 23rd and the 25th of February at the Birmingham NEC. I'll hope to see you there, and if you want to see the whole FX rifle range, they will be on display with Sportsman Gun Centre. Thank you for watching. Bye for now.